Don't put that there. Don't. This is why we can't have nice things in this house. This opening is mostly just gonna be for me. I will be deleting the previous broadcast because the connection fucked up. I bumped the wire and I had to restart everything. So, yeah. Juno is just about to start monologuing, which is always definitely a thing that happens in the yep, there he is. Let me restart the episode. This is Man in Glass Part 1. That's cool. Definitely something.
Good evening, traveler, and welcome to the Penumbra. Tonight's tale is
oh shit. Mostly
Juno Steel and the Man in Glass.
Rehashing the entire season so far. And hoping I can see some consistencies in delivery, because I have noticed that there haven't been.
It's true what people say about the view from space. You look at how much there is out there and you feel your own smallness in the face of it, sure, but you also feel the freedom of it. Infinite space means infinite room to move around. It means infinite possibility. Like, if you just look long enough, you could eventually find anything. Even yourself.
Oh my god.
Makes me feel a little silly for not leaving Mars earlier, honestly. I've been thinking a lot about that whole process, finding myself, what I did during it, and I guess what I'm trying to say to you is...
That's all very interesting, Juno, but does this really seem like the best time for this conversation?
I mean, I guess not, but...
Excellent! I agree. If we keep this streak of agreements up, perhaps we will work well together after all.
But didn't Buddy say that you had to...
Now it appears they're checking identification by the door. Come along.
Hey, Ransom, wait up! Ah, goddamn 6-inch heels.
He's been like this since yesterday. Whining, long-winded, hanging on me like creeping vines. And in fact, I'm beginning to grow concerned that he may have been like this since the day he was born. Juno Steel. There is just no changing some people, is there? I know from experience that he's competent enough, and if this position in Buddy Orinko's criminal operation works out, well, good for him. I bear him no ill will. Who has the time? But I won't save him either. Not like I have so often already. Because my name is Peter Ransom, for the time being. And I chose that moniker as a constant reminder of why I work alone. Years ago, a man told me that the first rule of thieving was to rely on those more skillful than yourself. And he was right. But he forgot the essential corollary to that advice, that if you attain enough skill, you need rely on no one. And why take that risk if you don't have to? I forgot that for a moment. But today I returned to the fundamentals that made my criminal career so successful. I am alone. I will not forget that again. Though Captain Buddy seems set on making that very difficult for me. She began that particular campaign this very morning.
Juno, Ransom, you will find your disguises in your quarters. You have 3 hours to complete the heist before the estate security systems pick up on our ship. Treat this as a test, darlings. Nothing else we have planned matters if we cannot steal that map.
No, even earlier, I think. Perhaps Captain Orinko's campaign against me began yesterday, 15 minutes after takeoff, when she gathered the full crew in the kitchen for our first... family meeting.
The first of many family meetings just like it. You should all be prepared for that. My criminal strategy needs a small and tight-knit crew. And so we will eat together, meet together, celebrate together, just like one big illegal family.
Family, that's so sweet! Captain A can be the mom, and Mr. Jack can be the uncle, and Miss Vespa can be the angry mom, and...
Question. In this scenario, am I the brother of Buddy or Vespa? The correct answer is neither.
Well, aren't we all brothers in crime aboard the Carte Blanche jet?
No, because some of us are not men, and also we are not related.
They're already bringing us off track, buddy. We had to keel haul all three of them and keep going it alone.
Hey, you want to lay off a little? We haven't even been here for an hour yet, and you've chewed us out like 4 times.
What, are you keeping score?
Yeah, actually, I like to keep my hands busy in meetings, and I had this little piece of paper, so
Enough! All of you. That's enough. This is the other reason why I insist we think of ourselves as one unit. Because like a family, we may argue with one another. We may even come to blows. But we will grow closer until we can always rely on one another. Even if you don't like the person you're relying on.
Good thing we don't have to worry about that.
Now, I am about to do something very important for you all. It is the greatest service my mother ever did me.
Oh, shit.
And she did it every single morning when she woke me up for school. She burst my ego. Not one of you is half as good as you think you are. Not one.
hey, that's fun.
You be quiet when Buddy is talking, got it?
Vesper, dear, practice what you preach. Nobody aboard this ship is the best at what they do. Not one of us is even in the top 10,000 across the galaxy, I'd wager. And if you think Buddy Orenko couldn't get the best of the best if she wanted them, why, you've simply no idea who you're dealing with, darlings. But my system has never called for the best. Because if in order to be great, you must practice consistently, then in order to be the
Okay, it just occurred to me what the song in the background is. Okay, whatever.
You must hold yourself away and practice your little heart out until your every ounce of empathy, charm, and wit has withered away to nothing. And I need that wit. I need that charm. And most of all, I need that empathy, and that is why you are here. An Orenko crime family is built on relationships. When we plan our operations, we come not as individuals, but as specialized duos, trios, and always, implicitly, as a family. Each one of you has made the grade because you can already form one of those specialized groups with others here. Rita, darling.
Yes, ma'am.
Your work with Juno stretches back 2 decades. You are an extraordinarily effective hacker, and you have the patience of a saint.
She's the patient one?
In addition, Jet has followed your hacking portfolio for years now, Rita, and several of your most watched stream specials are based on his criminal history. You two are already great fans of one another.
No way. Like, Gone in a Laser Flash? Was that about you?
Yes,
Saturnian Safecrackers? Black Hole Bandits?
indeed.
Just dragons? The story of 100 dragons, but not any people?
I'm afraid I don't recall.
Jet, in addition to Rita, has a proven history of success with myself, Vespa, and Juno. Vespa with Jet and myself, and Juno with everyone here except Vespa.
Listen, I don't have a problem with her. It's the 6-inch scar across my stomach that's a little worried. Make her put her knife away and then we'll talk.
I don't put away my knife.
Oh, wow, Captain A. That's such a cool system. You should name it something like,
The buddy system?
Vespa. Now that that's settled, are there any other questions?
Captain A, you forgot about Agent... what's Mr. Thief's name again?
Exactly.
I've said this already, but perhaps I spoke unclearly. If you need something to call me, then Peter Ransom will do just fine.
That was not Rita's question.
Our crime family is small because that is how you make every bond count. The relationships we've come here with are only a start. One of our very first priorities as a crew will be to build those yet unbuilt. And that brings me to my first 2 commands as head of this operation.
Well then, let's get to business,
About time.
First, I will be taking Rita out for ice cream tonight, and none of you are invited.
What?
What?
Oh boy, oh boy!
It embarrasses me that I don't already hold a close relationship with everyone on my crew, and so I think we ought to fix this one tonight. I'll see you at 8 o'clock in the garage. I know an asteroid with the best soft serve in Seoul. We'll take the car.
The Ruby 7 is not ready.
The other car.
Aye.
Charming.
If I may, Captain Orenko, you did not mention me as one of your associates either. Perhaps I could...
I'm so sorry, but our get-together will have to wait for another time. You and Juno are going to be very busy tonight.
The hell? It's not. We're.
I'm afraid I don't catch your meaning, Captain.
That is my second order. Our first heist is tomorrow, and you two are going in alone. You'll have to prepare.
Tomorrow?
Just the two of us.
I hope that won't be a problem, Ransom. You did promise me that you had someone you worked well with. It's the only reason I took your application seriously, if you recall.
Of course there's no problem. One day is just less time to prepare than I would like.
Boo-hoo.
But I will excel regardless.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yes,
hold on.
Juno? Is there something you think I ought to know?
Gotta say, for two old friends, you two don't seem so friendly. You've barely even looked at each other.
A resume is a difficult thing to write when none of your work has been tied to the same identity. Therefore, when I applied to work on Buddy Orinko's crew, I knew I would need a reference, someone with a name and a track record who could vouch for the nameless thief. Hence, Juno Steele. But then, while Juno choked over his coffee, while he cast that soft, confused eye my way, I realized the significant difference between a man and a resume. A man can elaborate. And if Juno mentioned the embarrassment of our final encounter, if he called into question my only connection to this ring of thieves, my time in the Orinko family might be short indeed.
You see my face, Vespa? I'd barely even look at me too.
His gaze passed me by. I considered thanking him for that later, then folded the thought away.
My concerns are about you, buddy. Because you're already talking about our first job, but you haven't said a word about this big con you have us after. And the big guy told me, he promised me
That you would know the full scope of each job we do. Of course. I'm happy to explain my larger plan right now if you'd like, along with all 4 major crimes that will lead to it. It's terribly exciting. You might want to put that coffee down for a moment, darling. You might choke again.
I think I know how to drink my coffee, thanks.
Of course. What we're after is well hidden, Juno. And before the way will open to us, we must hold 4 items in our possession. The map, the key, the blade, and the book.
Wow. That sounds like a fairy tale.
Oh, it's much better than that, darling. We're going to steal a legend. And now I'll tell you everything about it. Somewhere in the far reaches of the Outer Rim.
A great thief once taught me never to let the larger picture distract you from what really matters, the current job. Rule 1 of thieving: even if you're after the royal jewels, don't think about the queen. Think only about the one guard that holds the key and how you're going to get your hand in his pocket. Stopped clock is right twice a day, as they say. 4 times on Venus. Never understood how to read those. Regardless, I honestly don't care what Orinko plans to steal. I know only 2 things: that our targets will be very, very valuable, and that I need a lot of money quickly. Extremely quickly. But that isn't relevant either, not at this moment. So I'll take my debts, and I'll take Buddy's ultimate goals, and I'll fold them neatly in my mind, and I'll file them away under for future consideration. So I spend the night researching our mark.
Oh, shit.
I apply my face, remove it, apply again. My preparation takes longer than it once did, to shake the sleep and smooth the skin, but it has never served me wrong. Then morning arrives, and the job begins.
Juno, Ransom, have you made your grand entrance yet?
Nearly. The line at the entrance is extensive.
It'd move faster if they let us go through more than 2 at a time.
That, darling, is what we call a red carpet bottleneck. When you reach a certain level of fame or wealth, you forget completely how to enter a room any other way than with a twirl, 3 bows, and a herd of paparazzi drooling at your feet. And everyone at a Nova Zolotov gala crossed that threshold years ago.
Plenty other thresholds around here. Can't we just skip this part, take the side door or something?
No.
Hold on. Where? Do I have access to the transcripts? Did she say? Did Buddy already say Nova Zolotovna? Oh, hold the fucking phone. I am holding the fucking phone. That's besides the point. This is season 3, episode 1. You fucking kidding me? Alright. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Hold on while my thing loads. I will return to it. Oh, that looks right. Probably doesn't. Oh, that looks awful. Okay. Fix that. Yeah. My phone is really slow, so. Why is this script so long? Everyone talks so much. Why does Buddy talk so much? The Buddy System? The zine? Everyone buy the Buddy System zine. I'm obligated to say that because I'm friends with the people involved. Everyone buy the Buddy System. Okay. Let me re-listen to what Buddy just said.
Not enter a room any other way than with a twirl, 3 bows and a herd of paparazzi drooling at your feet. And everyone at a Nova Zolotov gala crossed that threshold.
Nova Zolotov gala.
Plenty other thresholds around here. Can't we just skip this part, take the side door or something?
No. Everyone is taking the red carpet. We'll have to blend in if we want a clean escape from this place.
Do I look like I'm blending into you? I've seen suns less bright than the gown Buddy threw at me.
All camouflage, darling. If you need to hide something dark, you do it in the shadows. If you need to hide a parrot, you do it in a clown.
I never said I look like a clown.
I hate to interrupt, Captain Orinko, but we're nearly at the front of the line.
Excellent. You remember the plan?
Sorta.
Every word.
Good. Then I'm ceasing communications in case anyone is monitoring for comms calls. I'll see you when you have the map in hand. Good luck.
Luck will have nothing to do with it. I have memorized every word of Buddy's plan, along with every square foot of Novozolotov's satellite estate. I prepared just as I'd been taught to, and I would excel. Our target awaits at a charity auction being held by trillionaire art collector Novozolotov, disguised as Outer Rim newlyweds. Buddy's idea, of course. I would never reuse a cover story so flippantly. We are to enter the gala, participate in the auction, and buy an irreplaceable work of art, with nothing in our wallets but a mirage. First, Rita will hack our aliases onto the guest list. Those, at least, I was allowed to choose.
Dauphin. Ah, there you are.
Okay. So Nerev chose those aliases specifically. Buddy said they're supposed to be newlyweds. Outer Rim newlyweds, specifically. Which I ran with. But the names are Nerev's. And I think that distinction is very interesting. But I don't know. Let me see in Tools of Rest, because right now in my ear Nerev's delivery is very low. Like his register is really low, and like in his monologue he speaks really plainly, as opposed to the usual weird flair that he has. Hold on, this looks wrong. I don't know. I'm gonna pour over these details as I go. They're probably irrelevant, but it's important to me, especially since I'm redoing it for Reverse AU. Cool.
And have you cleared an account for purchases this evening?
Zolotov has attempted to heighten security at this event, partly by ensuring that his guests keep as little money on their person as possible. Fewer creds in the building should mean fewer thieves at the door. As such, all creds intended for auction purchases are called in through cleared accounts managed by Zolotov. It's an interesting concept, and certainly not one I'd heard of at this scale. Very flashy. But
I mean, Juno will probably bring this up later, and the only reason the map is involved in this... Okay. So she's an art dealer. Then why does she have the map? Is what I'm thinking. Keep going. Keep going.
Made short work of it.
Of course we have an account. It's right here.
Oh, you don't have to show me. Oh. That's sizable.
You're damn right it is.
Delightful. Now, may we...
Oh, right. Monsieur and Madame Dauphin.
And I am certain this will work. Positive of our success on absolutely every variable,
Oh,
except
hubris.
one. Juno Steele, whose stealth leaves something to be desired. It is not just that he flashes our fake money to the guard at the door. When we walk the carpet into the gala, he attempts a turn and trips. Actually trips for everyone to see.
Pretty smooth, right?
Even his smile is unbefitting for a thief. It's so naive.
Rafe, you're
With
not
every
supposed to be
flicker of
thieves
feeling, that smile
at this
shifts,
moment.
daring a
Whatever.
confident second in the sun, then hiding away behind his lips, then peeking again.
Okay, gay
Can
person.
read a man's soul with a smile like that. Can see his every hope.
Mm-hmm.
And
There he
fear
is. He's
and
fading.
Love and
Go on.
folded away. File under for future consideration.
You're stupid.
And
I
for now,
hate you.
as we enter the Golden Hall where today's auction will take place,
He's a
surrounded
fucking
on
clown.
all sides by paintings and tapestries
Alright.
that are each worth more than the entire ship we now call home, I will focus on the task at hand. And I will ensure that Juno does the same.
You see this thing we're here to steal yet?
In due time, dear, in due time. And perhaps we shouldn't say that word so loudly,
Fine, that map we're here to steal. Sorry, I didn't know you were such a stickler for specifics.
We must be careful. We will not be the first thieves to steal from Mr. Zolotov.
You don't say.
Nova Zolotov's past parties have been legendary, Juno. 1 part
Legendary.
priceless art and 9 parts priceless mind-altering substances. The ultra-rich across the galaxy clamor for invitations just so they can drink and snort and inject so much that they can't remember a second of the parties they want so badly to attend. All of which makes them excellent prey for thieves.
Right, and that's why security's so intense at this thing. Zolotov must be spooked or something, because nobody's seen him since he got smashed and grabbed a year ago. If a guy that hungry for the spotlight stays out of it for a year, he must be pretty shook up.
Precisely.
Uniformed guards at every corner. Zolotov isn't hiding his anxiety, that's for sure. Looks like he's showing it off. Okay, so where do we start? Auction begins in 1 hour.
Okay, wait, that doesn't make sense. Or I don't know if I'm remembering that wrong. Because I'm pretty sure he says, or is he just not giving Ray all of the information? But see, that's why this doesn't make any sense. Because in the part 2, he is going to say that he asked Rita specifically to check in and said that Zolotovna is not really she's not thinking of like the repercussions of her actions. She's making quick decisions and no one's saying no to her, so she's very used to yes men. And he asked Rita. That's what he said. He asked Rita whether like things got changed, and there's like a change in the security cameras, and there's a change in the fact that the guards only have like fake guns. Then why isn't he telling that? Okay, keep going. Suspicious.
Well, I think that we should start by lying low until that hour is over and then proceeding with our original plan.
Sure, obviously. but
Between my experience and the diameter of your gown, I think I'm likely better suited to case the room. So I will seek out the map we're after, confirm our points of exit, and scope out the other guests for firearms.
that's a lot. What am I supposed to do?
Not draw attention to yourself. Enjoy a refreshment, perhaps. silently.
Okay, funny joke, but seriously,
Look for Zolotov if you like. You have the
funny
photo of him,
joke.
yes? Just look for the man with the terrible haircut.
Yeah, what even is that? Looks like a lion and a wet cockatiel had a really ugly...
Goodbye.
But hang on, what am I supposed to do when I find
Goodbye.
him?
It does not matter whether Juno finds our host, but at least the attempt will keep him occupied for a while.
Hold on.
To a pickpocket, the crowd offers a freedom as easy as swimming. People flow past your limbs. Your fingertips brush purse clasps when they please. It is invisibility moving like that. Weightlessness. And oh, how I've missed that solitude already. Out in the crowd, I confirm that the security guard's firearms are useless, only decorations to elaborate costumes. Then I find our target. The gilded globe of Reaches Far is the most valuable treasure map in the solar planets for more than one reason. It is small enough to hold in the palm of one hand, but completely golden and studded with intricately carved gems. Just looking at it, I can feel old habits work in my fingertips. The desire to pluck it and disappear out some window slick as shadow. But this alone could not settle my debts. My time is running out. And I am thinking this, feeling my age upon me like an ever-growing weight. File that under for future consideration while you're at it. When I see Juno across the ballroom, a vision in gold and light, breaking the only rule I gave him.
Here we go.
My dear Miss Dauphin, I do not think I've ever laughed so vigorously at one of these stuffy parties in my life.
That's madam to you, lady.
Lady! With a sneer, no one's ever talked to me that way. Madam, you are a cad and a cod, and if you keep this going, you might just be my new best friend.
Juno is flirting. He's picked up some long-haired, claw-nailed young woman in the crowd, and he's putting on a face I've never seen from him before. Cocky and confident, looking her up and down when she turns away. I don't have time to be livid. I allow myself a few seconds of it anyway before I shout, "Dear, dear."
Hey, and there he is now.
The mysterious monsieur. Well now. It sure seems like gowns are not all you have good taste in. How much would you like for the sharp-faced man in the window? I've been thinking of picking one up just like him.
Toss me half what I paid and we'll call it even.
Oh, you are a wicked woman, madame.
Hello, my love. May I speak with you a moment?
Just a sec. Come over here, Toots. I got somebody I want you to meet.
Come over, Toots.
You will say anything, won't you, Dauphin?
It's urgent.
Oh, now he's mad. Why'd you have to go and make him mad, you bad, bad madame?
Maybe we knock that price down to a third of the gown instead.
At a price like that, dear, I'd be an asteroid farming fool not to pick him up. You must bring him back to me once you've wiped that pout off his face.
Sure.
You must. I'll have my checkbook ready.
Oh my god.
Just give me a number.
Okay. I'll, get on that.
What in the hell do you think you're doing?
Having a drink, like you told me.
And her?
She came with the drink.
Unbelievable.
Listen, I get that you're the master thief here.
Do you get that? Do
But
you?
You're not really giving me anything to work with.
I did. I told you not to draw attention to yourself. I told you.
So what do you think? I was just goofing off or something? I was doing my job.
Which is what, exactly?
Attention, guests. Attention. We will now begin tonight's auction. If you would all kindly take a seat before the main stage,
Never mind.
we can
Let's
begin.
find seats quickly, not in the back, far too obvious.
Yeah.
We move to our seats, and whatever my frustrations, at least our job is nearly over.
At
Whatever
least.
Juno's mistakes, we will buy this globe and we will leave immediately.
Oh god.
Still, the way he was staring at that woman, hardly blinking, he nearly jeopardized our work, our freedom, so he could talk to a pretty face in the crowd.
Okay.
Nerve of it. The unmitigated...
The nerve of it.
But I am a
hate you,
professional,
sir.
and I file my frustrations under for future consideration.
God damn it, will you listen to me? I'm trying to tell you that.
Guests, if I may present our host,
Shh, this must be
joining
Zolotov.
us after a year in solitude, the one, the only.
Nova Zolotovna! Charmed your
Charmed your
Yep, our mark, like I was trying to tell you.
That's right, my friends, that's right. I've spent the last year hiding away thinking about me, about who I am, about what I want. About the man I'm gonna marry any day now, just as soon as I find whatever nebula he's hiding in and drag him away from it. And now, I've been drifting out among you all night, secret as the smile on a star, just to see how you all liked my little shindig. But now I'm ready, after a whole year in the cocoon, to show you the beautiful butterfly I've become!
She doesn't look anything like the person in the photos Buddy gave us.
That's probably because
My great transformation! The metamorphosis that nobody expected, the change that shows the real me, as I always was. I get a haircut, y'all!
Oh, yes, a haircut. I see it now. That is good.
way better, right?
But enough about little old me. What do you say we begin the sharing?
She says she changed her last name because of some tradition on Earth. Must be really confusing changing your name every time you get a haircut.
Why didn't you tell me who she was?
Because you didn't let me.
This is the first I've heard of Juno Steele needing permission to speak.
Listen, Ransom, what the hell is your problem right now? No, scratch that. I know what your problem is, so don't you feel like we should talk about it?
Is there a reason you only bring this up when it's most inconvenient, Juno?
Find me one convenient time then. One, because we're both clearly distracted.
Perhaps we wouldn't be if one of us wasn't so distracting.
The gilded globe of reaches far, dating back to the earliest caravans to the Outer Rim, with alterations placed by master craftsmen in all the years since. See the color of the jewels that mark the planets, each pure as the star it was born from. See how all those styles of circuit work dance across the face, like a beautiful socialite with a new haircut at her wedding ball, which should be any little old day now. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But this is for charity. So the show goes on. Let's place the first bid at 1 million credits.
So you gonna bid anytime soon? Or?
Delightful. You have to bicker even at the most important moment in our work. The pinnacle of piracy, this Madame Dauphin.
It's my first day on the goddamn job, alright?
And oh, but it shows.
You wanna lay off, pal?
I'm laying on because you've made this job a disorganized...
They've made that joke so many goddamn times for no reason. For literally no... K-Bird. I'm trying to say something here. Hold on, let me save. It's just there, just stressing me out. Okay.
Fine. You want to get out of here? Then let's get out of here. 500 million creds.
Oh my, that is a jump of 488 million creds to the charming Madame Dauphin.
That is every cred we have. What are you doing?
Oh, whatever. It's not even real money.
500 million. That's 500. Going
So
once.
let's just pick the damn thing up and leave.
Going twice. Oh, but I can't resist. I bid 1 billion creds for my gilded globe.
What?
Oh, I can't be the bank of something powerful on auction. So exciting.
1 billion.
That's bad. How do we get more money in the account? Like, now?
Call the captain, quickly.
Well, anybody want to match that? Madame Dauphin?
Come on, Rita.
Rita, I told you to call the captain.
Well, the captain would just put Rita on the line, alright? This is faster.
A lover's quarrel, but... Oh, I almost forgot. Going once.
Hi, Rita's room. This is Rita.
Rita, quick, I need you to hack another billion creds into our account.
Going twice.
Billion? I can
And
try, boss.
sold to the charming little lady from the middle of nowhere, Neptune, Nova Zolatovna.
Boss?
Never mind, we'll figure it out. Don't tell Buddy.
Oh, there is nothing that makes you feel more alive than spending 10 figures in one go. I'm sweating like a hog sunbathing in a supernova. Well,
So this isn't great.
No, dear detective, I'm afraid it isn't great. But resentment is not the current job, so I will fold it up and I will file it away.
Really imagine his little
Because
hair
the future
flip.
can wait. Because all the future is, in
I
fact.
hate him.
Moments in wait, time whose time has not yet come. And in fact, if you are disciplined enough, the future can wait indefinitely. The present is what presses. And in the present, I must steal a socialite's favorite possession out from under 1,000 noses, all while having to babysit a loud-mouthed criminal novice named Juno...
Yep.
For future consideration. For future consideration.
Hey, I considered that. Because the fans usually understand him saying for future consideration as like what do you call it? They consider it as him compartmentalizing the current situation, which it definitely isn't. First of all, because the way he uses quote unquote for future consideration in this whole bit is him filing away like huge emotions to just seem reasonable in a current situation, which from Juno's perspective back in like say Train from Nowhere, it makes him seem like the reasonable person in this situation, like in any given situation. Like say when Juno's like freaking out at him, Nureyev never actually like lash out, like he never lashes out back, which is to say some people interpret that as Nureyev like genuinely wanting to work with him instead of realizing that, you know, Nureyev is kind of a prideful person. He's kind of arrogant sometimes, and like he's warranted that much arrogance, especially because he's like actually good at the job that he's doing. But like what people don't consider is that when Nureyev uses for future consideration, it's that like it's him not lashing out at Juno when Juno distrusts him so fully that Juno actually breaches his privacy, which like not even in the kind of breach of privacy that he expects of like Juno like searching him, like looking him up on the internet through Rita or something. This like that's the thing that he expects Juno to do. What he doesn't expect Juno to do is like look through his things while he's gone. Which Juno, he knows Juno used to be a cop, which he should have expected something like that. But yeah. When people use for future consideration in fan fiction, they don't really consider the fact that it's not him filing away memories or like events or trauma at the moment. He's filing away huge emotions that he doesn't want to deal with at the moment because it's not relevant to the job. Literally everything he does is it has something to do with the current job because his life depends on it usually. Uh-oh, why is my girl boss so Jeanette is awake. Okay, so I'm about to start part 2. I'll stop for 5 minutes after part 2 and then restart, just so I can just post this and not make it seem bad. I don't wanna extend this for over an hour or something, so I'll run it. Should when you wake up you'll experience pain, so help me God. Oh god, jeez, I'm so sorry. Sorry for the mess on main too then. Anyway, I'm re-listening to the eps right now. I'm trying not to say things on stream because I have evil and nefarious plans. But yeah, that's mostly my whole thing. That Nureyev's for future consideration isn't actually him filing away current trauma. It's him filing away big emotions that he can't deal with at the moment because, you know, he doesn't have time to deal with huge emotions because that detracts from the time constraints of a certain mission or a certain heist. And like it doesn't help that like Juno is like he's used to Juno being just agreeable or like not in the loop enough. But in this situation, Juno's not really like depending on him anymore. Like Juno's not like in Train of Nowhere. He's not Juno's only lead to the case. Right now they're both co-workers, not not like there's no imbalance to them in their relationship, and that kind of like upsets the balance of what Nureyev is used to when it comes to Juno. Like Juno isn't just being imploring because they broke up. Broke up generous. Juno's generally being imploring because they're supposed to be a team, and Juno's been on teams before, but he's not really used to depending on the person on the team. So they both feel like they're pulling each other up in this group project, even though technically like it's supposed to be both of them pulling each other up. They think of the other as like the person they have to help instead of like the person like who they need to like support in the things that they are capable of doing. And what Nureyev is doing right now is just thinking of Juno as kind of a burden. They think of each other as burdens in this sense. And Juno's trying hard not to, because he's changed as a person. He realizes that Nureyev has merits, and he's taking the high road. And as I will be starting the next part of this, Nureyev's not really the type to like let people take the high road, because he feels kind of morally inferior because he has trauma. Other than that, I feel like people need to reconcile with the fact that for future consideration isn't for trauma, it's for emotions that he can't deal with at the moment, that he think are frivolous or like a weakness that can be exploited if showed at all. That's why when he comes up to Juno, he sounds pissed. And then he says that he's pissed that Juno's not doing his job, but really he's pissed that Juno is like seems like he's moved on so much while he's just like left scrambling behind trying to seem like that, and he doesn't realize that he's kind of still not over Juno, even though like deep inside he knows that he's kind of still not over Juno. His four future considerations are for like processing emotions when the time is right, like he shares that thing with Buddy sometimes, that like as a captain you never see Buddy break down, like ever, in the first 4 episodes as far as I know. Buddy has never been seen breaking down in front of someone else, because she also technically has that for future consideration. She just doesn't like frame it that way. Nureyev very deliberately frames it that way because he's a very emotional person and he doesn't like connect it that way. Buddy just ends up like naturally repressing it from how I understand her as a character. But let's see if I can use Gab's little playlist here. There we go.
Good evening, traveler, and welcome to the Penumbra. Tonight's tale is Juno Steel and the Man in Glass.
What are you talking about? This is my fault. There's no way in hell Zalatovna was ever going to sell the goddamn map.
Well, I suppose we'll never know, will we? Your little 500 million cred stunt happened, and now here we are.
So what, you think she just got excited and couldn't help herself?
You've put that very concisely just now. Are you certain you don't think it, Juno?
It was her favorite goddamn piece. I'm telling you, she was never going to let it go. That was her plan from the start.
There is a reason that gangsters in the movies synchronize.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this is my stream, I'll do it. But like, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. They both think of each other as the burden in this. They both think of each other as like the one who's like dragging them behind. They think that their the more competent person of this pair somehow. Juno himself is very admitting that like there are some things that he can't do. Like he knows Nureyev can escape any given situation. Like what worst comes to worst, he knows Nureyev can escape a situation. That is a constant in Juno's head. In Nureyev's head, Juno can be depended on if like the going gets worse. Juno can have like a backup plan. That's why implicitly after this, when Nureyev fucks up, he does end up listening to Juno. He does end up like deferring to Juno's judgment. So yeah, in this situation, Juno thinks that Nureyev not necessarily fucked up, but like Nureyev doesn't believe that there's a logic that's going on or something. Like he doesn't believe that Nureyev knows certain things about Zoltovna, and he's at fault because if he thinks Nureyev doesn't know, then why doesn't he tell Nureyev? And everyone's like, oh, Nurev's just being unreasonable in this episode because he's jealous, or because he's like, you know, he felt like he hasn't like developed as a person, which is like completely apart from it. Like Juno himself has had faults in this episode that if we at all actually got Buddy's like debriefing of them, we would have heard. Which that would be the second time they've gotten the debriefing of you both fucked up, which is bad, but at least you got the, you know, this is the second time they do that in Ultrabots, whatever. It's the one observation. But yeah, I'm saying like Juno is also at fault in this one because he thinks Nureyev would be on the same page without like actually telling, but at the same time he thinks Nureyev isn't on the same page, and like there's part of him that thinks Nureyev is kind of dumb for not jumping to that conclusion, and instead of telling Nureyev or like trying to explain it to Nureyev, he ends up just not telling Nureyev at all. He's just like this is what I'm trying to say, and instead of the clashing of them in this episode, the delicious character writing, and it like I love the fan fiction that came from this, but like it's just the focusing on the fact that Juno was in dress, I get it, Juno, no, but like the focusing on like the whole aesthetic of the heist, of the way that Nureyev reacts to this new Juno steal, everyone forgets that Juno isn't necessarily new. To Nureyev he is, but Juno is still like growing as a person. This is like through like 2, 3, 4 days since he left Hyperion. That was recent. Juno's still changing as a person. He's not emotionally mature as much as we want him to be. He's still kind of just like, there's still like an egotistical part of like Juno, like I mean that in the nicest way possible, egotistical. There's this egotistical part of Juno that thinks that he's right all the time, but he doesn't let others know. And that was like a big part of his like development in season 2, that he doesn't let people know when he's got plans, and that's ultimately what the downfall of this is, that both of them have plans and neither of them tell each other. And it, like at the end, him apologizing to Nureyev isn't just gonna be probably about the breakup, it's also probably just gonna be about what happened in this mission, because as Juno has developed as a person in season 2, he does realize that there are things in the past that he can't change, but there are recent things that he's decided that he can change. And I think that would be a much more interesting, like I don't know, like analysis, like not real analysis, like that's a more interesting character exploration than I want to see in a Jupiter apology, quote unquote, fic of Juno owning up to his own faults, of being a bit self-centric. I think that's what I said about egotistical, but like people think egotistical is a bad word. Whatever. Keep going.
Watches to the second. Time is the most important ingredient to any crime. One must never linger or become distracted from the task at hand, because every second spent at the scene is another second in which you could get caught. Or in other words, I know that my argument with Juno is pointless, but that does not mean I will not win it. My name at present is Peter Ransom.
Okay.
I am a master thief, one of the very greatest in the galaxy, and that is why I have been brought onto this criminal enterprise. So I have to say it is somewhat maddening that my captain seems set against letting me do my work the way I do it best, alone.
Oh.
In my experience, other people are just distractions. Especially this one.
All right, look, fine, it's my fault. I don't care.
No,
after this
no,
conversation.
you will not get out of this by taking the high ground.
But we need a plan, and now people are going to start taking the portraits and the statues and the little platinum robots and whatever the hell else they bought soon, and we need to get that stupid orb before then.
It's a globe.
Did Joshua Elon just burp through that line?
But you do have a point. It's most likely that guests will start to leave after the dance, which begins in
Isn't your phone vibrating?
half an hour. Well,
Yeah.
Some good news anyway. The ball should last a couple hours. That gives us time to put together a plan.
I'm afraid it does not, Juno. The Gilded Globe of Reaches Far, in case you have forgotten, is on the opposite end of the ballroom floor. This may come as some surprise, but one generally tries not to steal something mere feet away from hundreds of witnesses. No, I'll have to take it now. The old-fashioned way.
But
Madam Jafar, when do I get to meet that man of yours, darling?
There. And while I'm busy deactivating the necessary cameras and stealing the globe, you can distract Ms. Zolotovna. Ta.
Oh, don't let him slip away from me again.
Preparation. Preparation.
Okay. I do want to note the way that Rave said that he thinks that Buddy isn't like letting him do his job. It seems like he's not aware of the fact of how untrustworthy he is on the ship. He seems to think that Buddy's out to get him, and not like he thinks that like that's Buddy's problem or something. Like he doesn't think that he's at fault there somehow. He doesn't think that, you know, him not sharing anything and not even telling them his name isn't like a big problem of why Buddy doesn't trust him. It's just so funny to me. He's just not self-aware, I guess. Like, I guess he's not like socially brought up like that, I guess. To him, it's not relevant to know what his name is. He's so used to doing it solo that saying his name to, like, telling the contact his name is kind of like a new idea for him. I feel like this is like his first team thing. I'll keep going.
Everything to a thief. Unlike this holier-than-thou ex-private eye who made his career charging into beating after beating and connecting the dots between his bruises.
Okay, sir.
I took the files Buddy gave us, confirmed them with my own research, and then memorized the floor plan of this satellite estate precisely, inch by inch, camera by camera. There is freedom in the crowd, as I have said, and there is art in the thief's oldest techniques. To pocket the Gilded Globe is not just the sleight of hand necessary to make it disappear. It is also a dance, choreographed to incorporate every person in this ballroom. Within the first 2 bars, I've slipped into conversation with a massive drunken man, commenting on the smell of the flowers beside him until, intrigued, he lifts one with his massive paw and crushes the hidden camera in its blossom. Then I leave him, And as I imitate his stumbling and waltzing triplet, I collide with another patron hard enough to make them spill their wine all over the second hidden camera in the base of a nearby column. So sorry, my friend. But these are only my first steps. The movement has just begun. I start a fight amidst a triad and disarm 2 more cameras as the fists and glasses fly. I mistranslate a foreign dignitary's insult as a call for peace, and while she is distracted and confused by smiles and kisses, I destroy the camera she was staring at. And so it goes unto the second movement and the third until the time has come for the final chord. In the final bars, I approach that gilded globe of reaches far, my fingers poised to flourish and disappear, and then I am upon it, and these are the final notes, and then...
Honey, I said look out!
Madame Dauphin, my goodness, what has gotten into you?
Juno,
Nothing to see here, folks. Just saw a bee on the old hubby here, so I...
Bees are extinct.
That's what I thought, which is why I kind of freaked. Would you all believe me if I told you I just really, really wanted a hug?
Yes. Madame Dauphin.
Well, when you say it like
if
that.
isn't just the sweetest thing I've ever heard. Oh, when I have a man like you, monsieur, I'll be like a hyper-intelligent squid in a candy store, all hugging and grasping and... Anyway, back to it, y'all. Back to it. Let's let the lovebirds have their moment in private. Ooh, don't you just want to eat them with a tiny little spoon till there's nothing left but bones?
Incompetent, idiotic.
Impatient, too, so let's get out of here pronto.
And why? Why should I listen to a word?
Because, goddammit, there's another security camera looking right at you.
Then I see it over Juno's shoulder. A camera, embedded in one false flower of a nearby bouquet. A clear fake, an obvious fake. And one I'd nearly missed, so certain was I that I'd memorized every location.
Get up. Walk with me. We'll talk closer to one of the cameras you knocked out.
I follow him weakly, feeling suddenly feeble and old. Am I losing my touch, I wonder? Has my mind begun to fade like my looks, my energy? And all I can think of is my debt, the constant weight of it pinning me, and I feel it growing heavier as I grow weaker.
Hey, are you even listening to me? I was telling you that our research is outdated. Everything Buddy pulled for us.
No, that's impossible. She gathered it just yesterday. I checked it myself.
Yeah, well, yesterday sounds real impressive or whatever, until you account for the fact that Zolotovna boosted security around here at 2 a.m. this morning.
This morning? But that's so incredibly insecure. Her team would have no time to test anything.
Almost got you, didn't it? You're one of the best.
One of... What?
I started to suspect our intel was off and I couldn't find Nova Zolotov anywhere in the crowd. Based on the profiles I read ahead of time, I gathered that our mark had to be really hands-on at in-house galas and had to see everybody's reactions, but nobody had seen Zolotov. Or so they thought.
And so, Zolotovna.
Hell of a haircut she's got. In a room of paparazzi and busybodies, she was the only person here that nobody knew. Worth talking to, I figured, and she was so proud of herself that she told me about her big reveal pretty much right away. Lady's got zero restraint, I swear.
Zero restraint? And yet you believe she's some great mastermind of security? That the last-minute surveillance switch was a deliberate plan?
Not a mastermind. The opposite. She's dangerous because she's so goddamn rich that everyone's afraid to tell her she doesn't know anything. It all looks unique, sounds showy, but it's just kind of a mess. She hired private security but wouldn't give them real blasters because it would ruin the decor. Hell, Rita told me that the password to her uncrackable account system was, remember to change the password to something better later, Nova. Being surrounded by nothing but yes men makes you an easy mark, sure, but it also makes you unpredictable because you won't throw out even the worst ideas.
These shrimosas made of myself, honey, because I was thinking we always put the shrimp in cocktail sauce, so why not put a shrimp right in your cocktail? So that's orange juice, horseradish. Yeah.
Case in point.
I always assumed she handled her affairs herself. Where are these yes men?
Exactly.
Come again?
You know what would happen if I tried to blow a billion creds on my own statue? Rita would stop me. Probably you and Jet and Buddy and, hell, we'll invite Vespa too. You would all jump out of the goddamn woodwork to stop me. Beat the hell out of me, probably, so why didn't anybody stop her?
Because they never stop her from doing anything.
Exactly. She has the globe because she's the cash cow for the people we're after, but she doesn't know a goddamn thing about it, and she couldn't even name one pharma megacorp she's actually invested in.
Huh. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense because she's an art dealer, but she's involved. See, makes sense. Makes sense. What is this? Why am I getting messages? Not done yet, but I'm gonna say ow. I noticed this maybe yesterday. Who the fuck is a new Penumbra Struggles person? Probably Trish. Probably Trish. No, what doesn't make sense to me is how in the span of that little thing Naraya just did, or at least it doesn't make sense to me narratively, because I don't know, normally I would like think of it as like Chekhov's gun or whatever, that or at least because I'm thinking of this chronologically, because if you consider how you listen to the episode, Juno wouldn't have enough time to, you know, talk to Zolotovna that, like, with that much information, like that in depth. It's just a bit too fast. It happens a bit too fast. The pacing with Juno's facts is a bit off, but like the facts seem believable because Nureyev is kind of a mess. I will make as many jabs at Peter Nureyev as I can.
She's never even heard of the Board of Fresh Starts, and honestly, I can't tell what's worse, you know? The people who built those goddamn debtors tags they use in Cerberus province, or people like her who just have money and throw it wherever they have to in order to make more of it.
To be completely honest, I'm not sure I've ever heard of the Board of Fresh Starts either. Sounds distantly familiar. One of the many organizations Buddy listed during our family meeting, perhaps? And now that Juno has made it relevant, I feel, well, embarrassed, I suppose. I don't think I've felt that way in a very long time. Juno takes an inefficient moment to stare at Nova Zolotovna again, and for the first time I can tell what that stare actually means. He isn't taken by her, distracted by her poise or her looks. He's studying her, examining her, and he does not like what he sees. I realize, despite myself, that I do like what I see when I look at him. There's a hardness in his jaw, a carved-out sharpness in his eyes and his scars. She morally outrages him, I can now tell. And then I realize I become distracted too.
All right, y'all, get your dancing shoes on because it's time to trip that light fantastic. Take it away, gentlemen.
Why are we messaging me on my stream? What's going on? Oh dear God. Okay. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I have thoughts that I can't reveal. But I do have thoughts. Alright, I said that before. About how Nureyev and Buddy have the same tendency to self-project. Mostly. I like to think well, I kind of don't like the idea of Buddy just self-projecting, because Buddy's relatively old, even though she would hate anyone saying that. But she sees herself in a lot of like flawed people that she works with. Specifically, in Time Gone By, she does end up like saying things about Juno that are consistent to her as a person. Hi. Still awake. But then there's the fact that Nureyev also did that in Murderous Mask, which I still remember, because Juno in that moment wasn't really pissed because he was morally outraged. He was pissed because, well, an old friend just got arrested for the wrong charges. He's not morally outraged. He's just pissed at fucking Min Kanagawa. That was an old friend, man. Oh, man. And this here is Nureyev also Nureyev is kind of being buddy-ish in this one too, because he says Juno's being morally outraged, but that's just, Juno's not being, morally outraged. He's just really politically involved. He's not morally outraged because it's like he's personally involved in it. He knows someone who's like involved in it. Like, he's not friends with Vespa, but he knows it deeply affected Buddy and Vespa, and he's very invested in that. It's less that he's like morally outraged because it's like it's wrong to do that, though it is. He's more morally outraged in Buddy and Vespa's stead because they're not there, but also because he's friends with them. It's a personal thing. That's my take. It's my hot take. My hot take. Oh, this fucking music is so
Juno.
bad. Whatever.
The ball is starting.
Yeah.
And I don't intend to
hear
leave
that.
here without that globe.
Me neither.
Then, may I have this dance?
Thought you'd never ask.
My Juno, you are quite the dancer. I never knew.
Had a good t-shirt.
And it shows. How versed are you in sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand into pocket? Not bad. I shoplifted about a quarter of my lunches between the ages of 8 and 11, but you're the masters.
Master
mentioned that
or
he
no,
loved
I've too many eyes on me now.
Someone.
Ms. Zolotovna's especially.
Really? Let's find out. Dip me.
With pleasure.
Whoa, yeah, she's staring holes through you, isn't she?
Only through my clothing, I believe, but it does make stealth more difficult. Spin.
Sure thing. Damn, Dauphin, you're not half bad yourself.
Quite. Did you see the Gilded Globe's location in relation to us?
Sure.
Excellent. We're going to switch partners now, several times if necessary. I will make my way towards Zolotovna and distract her. You will approach the globe, store it in your gown, and then meet me at the edge of the ballroom floor. Does that sound acceptable?
Yeah, Ransom. Yeah, I think I like this plan a lot.
Smiles from Juno Steel come like shapes in firelight, flickering and unsure.
They're disgusting. Okay. Juno didn't even strategize in this one. This is mostly Nureev's job. I feel like he mostly just stopped Nureev from doing, like, risking himself. And I feel like in their team, like, think about it in Buddy's POV. We got two rookies. Well, consider them rookies, even though Nureyev has an extensive, well, not technically extensive, but he has job experience. As opposed to Juno, who is experienced, but not to the point of, like, experience that Nureyev has. In this situation, Juno is definitely aware of the fact that he doesn't have the necessary skills to pull off a heist this large, because in this scenario, Juno's not the one who made up the plan. Nureyev did. So what he mostly did was detective work. he just provided Nureyev with information that, though he might have been able to tell Nureyev that beforehand, worst comes to worst, this is mostly just a job for Nureyev. And I feel like Buddy knows that, like, of the both of them, Juno's mostly just the muscle of this one. Because if you consider why Buddy took Juno in for the job, he didn't do any detective work for her, even though she knows that he has, like, years of experience in it, because Jet kind of stalked him for a few months. Juno has nothing to offer in this, apart from, giving them a profile of what Peter Ransom is capable of in their perspective. So after this mission, you have Buddy going, okay, I get your deal. I get it now. Like, as vital as this mission is a very easy one. That's why she only sent out 2 people. And it's kind of a risk, like a gamble that she took, that Nureyev's, like, the person that she sent out, and she didn't, like, send out anyone else to, like, keep an eye on them. Because usually you'd expect at least one person chaperoning this event, like, at least Buddy is in on it. But no, they don't have covert comms on. They don't have Jet, like, guarding the door. They don't have Vespa trailing them. It's just Juno and Nureyev stealing one of the most vital parts of their mission. She said, like, it's a test, but specifically it's to test how far they can throw Ransom, is what I'm saying. Like, this has arc repercussions. Like, if you think of it through the entire arc of the season, like the 3rd season so far, it has repercussions. Juno, on the other hand, in this one is kind of just, he's the moral backbone. I hate calling Juno moral, because he has the moral background. He has the moral backbone of a fucking chocolate eclair, as a wise man once said. But I get it, I guess. Like, he's not apolitical. He has stances, but he's not moral, like morally ethic. Well, he's not ethically moral. I don't know what that means. He's a good person. That's it. Like, whatever you think a good person is, that's what Juno is. He's not technically, like, ethical as a person, because he was a private eye, and that's, like, less ethical works, because there's no limited legal repercussions for private investigators. So Juno's not ethical, but he is, he has stances. He has an idea of what good and bad is. I feel like people miss that. And as much as I hate getting down to semantics, I feel like it's important to be said that, morals and ethics are completely irrelevant in this topic. He's just a good person. I feel like it's a very major distinction. Whatever.
I hold my breath near this one, lest a stray exhalation put it out. Then we squeeze hands and spin away from one another. I towards Nova Zolotovna, and he towards our ultimate goal. I watch him for the first few minutes, as he twirls from dancer to dancer, growing ever closer to that gilded globe. Until I realize that I don't have to.
You don't.
I can trust him to do this on his own.
Hello, handsome. I was wondering when I'd finally get to talk to you.
Ah, Ms. Zolotovna. It's truly a delight to meet you at last. And how has your grand return to society been thus far?
Oh, I've simply no time at all for pleasantries, Mr. Dauphin. I have just one request of you, one tiny thing, and I'm afraid you'll have to make your choice quite quickly, my beanstalk beau.
Beanstalk
Kiss
bow.
me.
Oh,
Beg
God.
pardon?
Beg pardon?
Well, my other half told me that you have quite the sense of humor. But
Oh, damn your other half and kiss me! Why do you think I was so insistent on speaking with you all evening? Because even in this perfect party of my own design, you are the most perfect part of it. Because I saw you across the room, and I knew, my star-sent lover, that we were meant to be.
Ms. Zolotovna,
Hush now. Don't deny it, sugar. Every time I've come anywhere near you, you've run off with your tail between your legs, hiding your face like a boy with a schoolyard crush. I want this. You want this. We're as sweet together as a mooncalf and cream, and if you're ready to reach out and grab the future with a kiss, I will tie the wedding knot with you by morning. Your missus be damned. I know people who can make that marriage disappear. Make her disappear if you like, and then we can run naked through the stars as we were always meant to. So kiss me, Dauphin. Kiss me.
The calculations occur automatically. When you live as I have for so long, clawing for payout after payout, the mathematics of income become second nature. And if Juno's readings on this woman are true, if she really can't keep track of her own finances, then this would not only be a payout today. If I were to play my cards right, I could bleed this woman of every investment she has, work her for years of payouts, decades, and finally remove that constant worry that has followed me across the galaxy, as close and insistent as my own shadow. And that is so very tempting. I am not as young as I once was. Every year I must retire another con that relies on younger men's charms. Every month my skin and options slacken. The decades of late-night research and eyes wide open have pulled more than exhaustion from me. It feels as if they have reached into the very marrow of my bones and siphoned away something fundamental, something I won't ever get back. And in the face of that, how can I possibly say no to Nova Zolotovna? Married by morning, you say?
Sooner, if you like. I'll give you anything you want, Dumpling. I'll give you Saturn on a string of pearls. Just kiss me.
We never really change, I tell myself. And Juno will understand that. He will understand why I have to do this. And then I am thinking about Juno, about his righteous indignance, about his flickering smile.
That's what he is. He's righteous.
More than that.
He's not. Jesus Christ.
I'm thinking about the reasons it has come so easily for me to ignore him, to be cruel to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is a different man from the one who left me in Hyperion City. Because he has changed without me. And I can hide in that distance and pretend I never felt for him at all. Across the room I see him spin past the globe, and then it's gone. And a feeling swells inside me that is terrifying in its size. And for once, I do not file it under for future consideration.
Oh, Mr. Dauphin.
Oh, Ms. Zolotovna, my radiance, my beauty, my jewel in orbit. You have read me to the quick of my soul and seen the longing that lies within, because it is you, Nova. And it was always you from the moment our eyes first met.
Oh, I knew it! I knew it!
But I cannot kiss you.
What?
Not yet, my love. Not yet. Our love, it's forbidden.
Oh, yes, yes.
Look at my wife, will you? That sharp eye of his, that jewel-studded eye patch, that gown.
Gown!
Have you ever heard of the Dauphins before?
I think so.
Of course not. And where do you think money like that comes from so quickly?
You don't mean that Mrs. Dauphin is...
Organized crime, my love. He terrifies me utterly.
Hey, honey, I think... Is it time for us to go, dear?
Just listen to him, Nova, the voice of a killer. It sends shivers through my spine.
Oh, my baby, sweet and pure and delicate as a sunspot on a Sunday. My security. I could have them...
Don't you understand? He'll kill me if you do. No matter how fast your security is, he's faster. Just look at that eye.
He's rubbing it an awful lot. Is that part of his strategy?
No, that's just an eyelash. But when that eyelash is gone, he'll be watching again, and I must away to him. Oh, my Nova. If only I had the creds to pay my debts to him, then perhaps I could...
Money? Is it money you need?
1 billion creds. But I could never ask.
Yeah.
Oh, you just had all of these jewels on you, then?
I like to keep them warm, honey. But that doesn't matter now. Nothing matters now. Go to him. Pay your debts. But only if you swear you'll find your way back to me.
I swear.
Swear it.
I swear.
Swear it.
I swear, my love.
Then I'll see you soon, Dauphin.
He's so stupid.
Take care. Now, go.
I must.
I hate him. So
Only the fare for a spaceship back here once I've done so could be quite pricey.
Oh, of course.
And then, of course, I'll have to stock up on my prescriptions, a thyroid condition.
Right, that goes without saying.
Oh, and could we make that ship ticket first class? It's just that my legs, and they need the space.
Yeah. Now, go, Dauphin. Go and please be safe.
If it means seeing you again, my shining Nova, I will
My
never be more
shining
careful.
Nova. Hate him.
What the hell was that?
No questions, just start walking. But quickly! Captain Ulrico, we're nearly at the door, and we're going to need that ride as soon as possible.
I'll get Jet right on it, darling. Buddy out. What is that?
I hope never to find out.
I can't take another moment of the secrecy.
Secrecy. Oh my god. Keep going.
I love you.
Why did they stop walking?
I said, I love you. And I don't care if your wife knows it.
She looks like she's waiting for something.
She's waiting for you to kill me, likely so that she can pull a deathbed confession of true love from me, and given that neither is going to happen, I recommend we turn our walk into a run.
My God, Miss Zolotovna, the gilded globe of reaches far has disappeared.
A very fast run. Go!
Ooh, somebody stop them! Stop them! I think I'm about to faint. I'm seeing stars. Oh, thank you for catching me, sir. Say, are you doing anything for the next 6
That was the longest runway I've ever heard of. Oh shit.
Ransom, darling, it's Buddy.
It's
May
Buddy.
I come in? I'd like to review the day's events with you.
Oh god.
I thought we debriefed already of the
Hi. Hi,
family
Taz.
meeting.
I asked if I could come in, Peter, not if we could review.
Just looked at the
I'll
screen
start
and
my
like, oh my
feelings
god, that is
if you
the
prefer.
that's the largest.
I've been told that I have a very good
Bye,
voice for
thanks.
shouting. One that carries well with strong diction and
Oh
a
my
force
God,
of
buddy.
enunciation that really emphasizes. Ah, there you are. Pity. I made myself quite excited to project my assessment of you across the carte blanche. I was particularly thrilled to tell everyone that you're a
The
no
door
good,
is open, Captain.
No
Please
good.
come in.
if I must.
Well, I
Okay. You know what? Keep going.
Hello,
Whatever.
travelers, and happy
What the fuck?
holidays.
Oh.
Today,
Did I? Yeah, I pressed the wrong button. Hold on.
I apologize.
I'm
My
sorry.
tone seems short, Captain, but I've received quite a lot of criticism for my performance today already.
You and Juno both, yes. Most of all from yourselves.
Right. And so if you mean to critique me further, well, your advice would be precious to me, but I may not be able to take any more feedback tonight.
I'm not here to
Here it is, like,
criticize
can-
you, Ransom.
can we do that tomorrow
I've already
instead?
done that.
What? But
I don't repeat myself, darling, no. I think it's quite fair to say I never repeat myself, under any circumstances whatsoever.
Captain, you called me a no-good...
No good? Now what gave you the idea that I would say a thing like that?
She said that earlier.
You're a very negative man, Ransom. I don't know much about you, but I do know that.
Yeah.
A very
It's
negative
very
man.
fair, but she
The
did say
main
that
question arising from this day, for me, is what the place of such a man is on my vessel, in my family. Sit, please.
though. Yeah, see? That's what I was saying.
Captain Orinko, I assure you that however my performance was today, it won't be repeated.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm.
A shame. I rather liked your performance today.
You did?
I did. It was not flawless. But flawless crime is so dull, don't you think? Life is very little without drama, and you don't learn a single thing if you never make mistakes. I'm about to be very honest with you. Is there anything you'd like to tell me before that?
Buddy Orinko is not the first person to tell me that flawless crime is dull.
Mm-hmm.
A great thief told me that as well, many years ago, when I was just a child on New Kinshasa.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything that man said, my second impulse is to throw it out or file it away for the future. But my first impulse is always a pang of a feeling 20 years gone now. A heavy warmth that tells me I could just stay right where I am and be safe because someone else has pledged to keep me so. For the first time, I see Buddy Orinko not as a tool to use to pay my debts, I see the woman, the legend I've wanted to meet since my earliest days in crime. And I feel that warmth from her for the first time.
Well, is your conscience squeaky clean then?
I...
People interpret that differently. But at the same time, I'm like, I've seen people properly interpret it. That Nureyev, despite having like a really bad past with Mag, he kind of still like respects him and like loves him and like wants that back. He just wants a dad, but like, you know, it's the parental issues. It's he wants a dad, but at the same time he wants the truth, and it's a very complicated thing. And I've said enough about how I interpret that as an Asian person, and it's very easy to see it in this one, but people kind of just gloss it off because, you know, the ray of being Asian isn't really canon, whatever, which I have very complicated feelings about that I would rather not put on stream because they involve a lot of expletives. But suffice to say that a lot of people villainize Mag in Rayev's stead in a very patronizing kind of way, considering the fact that Nureyev himself respects the man enough to remember him fondly, to think of Mag as the person who he can depend on, as I'd say. He likes having a parent. He likes having someone to rely on because he's a very independent person, and he grew up in a very hostile environment that is like the idea is that he grew up poor, right? Like he grew up on the streets, and like Mag just picked him up, and he wants that kind of like, you know, I can just close my eyes and pretend, and that everything's gonna be fine. I can just let someone else do the work for me, which he hasn't had in a really long time, because he's gotten himself into some shady shit, you know? And it's very understandable of people to think that you know, he views Mag in a very skewed light because he thinks of Mag as a father figure, which, you know, people with rough backgrounds, with like rougher backgrounds than me, think of their parents very negatively. But like, if you consider how Nureyev himself thinks of Mag as a person, it's kind of unfair to like villainize him wholeheartedly, to like think of Mag as just this one bit character who is like evil and abusive and like didn't offer anything to Nureyev at all, or like brought nothing but misery to him, which I think is just, you know, it's really just like taking away the point of what Monster's Reflection was. Because Monster's Reflection really just tells you that, you know, your parents aren't just like caricatures, or like your parents, no matter how abusive they may be, aren't just one bit characters who are evil just because they hurt you. There are people too, and they were brought to those circumstances in which they reacted that way to you as a person, and that doesn't absolve them of anything. That doesn't, or like, Nureyev still loving Mag doesn't erase the fact that Mag did lie to him his whole life. It's kind of shady of him to have done that. I agree. I just think that people kind of villainize him to a point that it's kind of disrespectful to Nureyev himself. Like, you wouldn't say that to a person that is like is living in an abusive household or did live in an abusive household, you'd say, yeah, your dad's kind of shitty, but at the same time, you wouldn't like say that to their faces unless you're like super close. So at this point, when people are like overtly just saying that Mag is a like a two-bit villain who is like abusive through and through, they kind of forget the fact that Mag brought Narave up, that Mag made him the thief that he is today, made him the person that he is today, brought him up with the morals that he has today. That doesn't make him a monster. That makes him a person. That makes him a parent. And villainizing him because of what he said in the spur of a moment, actually, that he should have said beforehand, that he should have cleared with Nereev, saying that he's like evil because he's abusive is just minimizing it, I guess. But like, I get it, you know, I get why. It's just kind of upsetting, especially with like people, with Asian people specifically, who kind of view their parents as like, how can you say that? They kind of view their parents as a kind of, you know, very, very flawed people who, especially adults, who just acknowledge the fact that their parents are like very flawed, that their parents are very flawed individuals who want certain things from them, that have certain expectations of them, but you know, it's kind of difficult to separate the expectations and the wants, and like when you don't meet the expectations, it kind of feels like bad. And Nureyev wants someone who he can impress. He's a very he's a very high-strung person who wants to impress people all the time. He wants to be the mayor of a town that it doesn't exist or something. So yeah, when people kind of think of Mag as just that two-bit abusive father, it kind of feels disingenuous to a lot of people who are flawed and raised good children. At least to me. So I don't know. Especially since Narave himself kind of just, you know, compares the way that he was raised, the way that he feels about Mag to Buddy. Like, he sees Buddy as a parent figure that he can impress, that he can make proud, I think. That he can rely on when the day is done. He can just when he's out of plans, he can ask Buddy for help. That's what he wants out of a parent. He can ask Buddy for help. And just kind of people who villainize him and Buddy sometimes kind of upset me. Because they forget that him comparing her to Mag isn't because she's like, you know, a bit of a nag of like, you know, lying to him or whatever, or being evil. It's because he relies on her orders. He defers to her because he respects her. You know, that's what Asian people think about their parents all the time. Even though they're kind of shady sometimes, even though they're kind of shitty sometimes, they want someone to rely on, even though that parent has had very, very bad things said to them or whatever. Just keep going. I'm about to finish this. If someone's watching somehow and is not chatting me right now, I will stop the stream and restart again after 5 minutes, just so the videos won't be too long, because I will be downloading this for myself just so I can collect my thoughts. So I'll start Tools of Rust after I finish this.
I'm sorry to say that I did steal more from Zolotovna than I showed you. I apologize. I can get it right away.
I know.
You... what?
I said I know you stole more. You're a thief. and one with heavy debts.
I'm not sure what gave you that impression.
Do not lie to me, Pete. I don't mind a little thieving between thieves, and I can accept your requests for a pseudonym and privacy, but I will not allow deception within my family. Do we have an understanding?
I suppose we do. May I ask where you found this information?
Are you ready for me to be honest with you?
Yes.
Well, you may not like this, not Peter, not Ransom, but the fact of the matter is that the nameless thief has built up quite a name for himself. Don't ask how. All great talent develops its unique calling card, its fingerprint, and as a talent scout, it's my duty to read the future in those cards. And the fact is that your future doesn't line up. You have been involved in some of the most lucrative heists of the past century, and yet you've arrived on this vessel with nearly nothing to your name. Vespa's blood tests on you are clean.
I don't recall
and
giving
therefore
any
you
blood.
can't be spending your earnings on biochemical thrills. It is possible that you have an estate waiting for you on some quiet asteroid field somewhere, but given how often you work, I rather doubt it. If you own such a place, you haven't seen it in at least 8 years, and beyond that, you're not the home-owning type. Therefore, I can only conclude that you are in debt to someone. A very large debt, by the look of it, and one that isn't going away anytime soon. Does that sound right?
What, may I ask, are my calling cards? My fingerprints?
You won't erase them, darling. No one can. Remind me, Pete, what is it that our family intends to steal?
Juno and I just stole the Gilded Globe of Reaches Far.
Which will lead us to?
I was taught not to let future jobs distract one from the current.
So you don't know, then? An interesting stratagem. Though I think it would better fit a mercenary than it does us. We're after a bit more than a paycheck. Let's try it this way, then. Do you know why Nova Zolotovna had the map we were looking for? Why not some other art collector on some other satellite?
Because of her connections to pharmaceutical megacorporations, including the Board of Fresh Starts. And
that is all you know.
Quizzed. That's all he knows.
Yes.
I appreciate your honesty, and I'll repay it with some of my own. Nova Zolotovna is an entrepreneur, darling, and the majority of her money goes to pharmaceutical corporations that build debtors' tags like the one my Vespa must wear. Organizations that try to own those they claim to help. Zolotovna's money is one of the roots of their power. And when you're pulling out weeds, darling, you must always take a firm grip and pluck them up by the roots. And so, if we're going to steal the cure to all illness right from under those corporations' noses, it follows that we'd have to start here.
The cure to all illness. The Cure Mother Prime.
So you do remember?
I do. And the realization shocks me. The Cure Mother Prime. An object more myth than reality. A colony of microscopic alien life that produces cure mothers, which produce endless medicine. Cure mothers for every illness. A panacea. It sounded impossible. But those diagrams she had, the video feeds, the evidence. By her own admission, it was not certain. We had everything but the final proof that this creature could really do what the legends said. But everything else was there. Documents proving that it was being held by the largest pharma megacorps, that it was important enough to them to guard more heavily than anything I'd ever seen. And we were going to take it.
Yes, that's exactly it. Nice work, Peter.
I realize I've been talking for some time, and I am sweating. I wonder if I'm growing feverish until I see my fingers shake. I'm just excited. Despite my coolness, part of me has clung to the legend of the Cure Mother Prime. A vulnerable part of me, one I have tried to eradicate many times. I wonder what else I've filed away like this. My for future consideration suddenly seems less like a file and more like an overstuffed closet, one that must contain so much that I always promised to consider and never did.
We are not mercenaries in this family. And though each of us has their reputation, we are not legends either. We're better. A legend is an old story, a dead thing, frozen forever. And we are very much alive, still in motion. We must use that. I'm telling you all this in the interest of fairness, darling. You should know that this work means much more than money to me. We are going to do the impossible. We are going to steal a myth. And if all you're after is pay, we are not worth your time, and frankly, you are not worth ours.
I assure you, Captain Orinko, that I am not solely here for the money.
Anymore. I'd attribute your eventual success today to that. I'm not so certain you wanted more than money this morning, however. And though I have my suspicions about what you're here for now, I can't say I know yet. This is all a very roundabout way of saying you did well today, Pete, at the end of things. I hope you repeat that success, and especially where that success came from.
My phone
Do not let
so
who
much.
you were this morning, or last week, or last year, equal who you are today.
Gab.
Not even the greatest
Why
talent
is
can afford
my
to stagnate,
phone
darling.
vibrating so much?
And I should know. I've tried. Now settle your debts.
What's going
Financial, personal, and whatever else.
on?
And get
I
some
see.
rest. We'll be right back to work in the morning. Oh, and Pete, you asked about your calling card.
She
I
definitely
did,
didn't
yes,
forget.
but I don't need
An
to.
enduring moral core, coupled with a strong desire to excise that core completely. Demonstrated, of course, by a consistent pattern of pro bono work, followed up by a lot of con bono. Like having a heart embarrasses you. I brought you on this ship for that moral core. If I distrust you, darling, it is only because you have proven you can do anything you set your mind to, and so I'm certain you are capable of excising those morals for good. You just haven't done it yet.
Well... But
I
why...
find that questions of why the self is the way it is are best answered by the self, and so I think I'll leave you to meditate on that. Good night.
Interesting.
I'm still sweating lightly when Buddy leaves.
Who's messaging me?
I'm thinking about my excitement for the Cure Mother Prime and how well I hid it away. I am leafing through my file marked for future consideration, wondering what else I've missed, what other parts of myself I've buried in that dark and bottomless place. Memories of a great thief, a floating home, warmth and laughter and the soft sigh of another beside me from a time when money wasn't my only concern. And then a person, one with a soft eye and a flickering smile. Soft footsteps in the dead of night I pretended not to hear.
Oh, fuck off, sir. Him.
Yes,
I'm gonna kill him.
Hey there, Ransom.
Every time the
Just
music
close the
cue
door and
fucking
drop the
gets
silly
me.
moniker. I already regret choosing it.
Okay.
Oh, do
Peter,
you?
then.
And not that either. Everyone who's ever called me Peter has wanted to be my parent, even if I've only let a few fit the role.
See. Oh my god. Okay, I pressed the wrong button again. I just... Hold on. I fucked up.
So we hope you will.
No! God damn it.
Not that.
Okay, I got to the right part. Everyone who's ever called me that has ever only wanted to be my parent. By the way, Gab, I'm gonna be when this ends, I'm gonna be pausing. I'm gonna be stopping and starting the stream. So maybe like I'll save and then I will skip to Tools of Rust, and then what will happen is I will stop the stream, then 5 minutes later I will start again, and I'll still be drawing. I probably won't be sleeping. But I will be stopping and starting while I'm listening. I will be like saying my thoughts because I'm mostly just recording these to get my thoughts out. So just so far I've said that he sees Buddy as a parent. He sees Buddy as a parent but he's embarrassed by the fact that he wants a parent. And it's not even just, I want a mom or I want a dad, which is kind of weird to say. He wants someone to rely on. He wants someone that he can fall back on. And he feel like the only person he's had that connection with has been a parent, has been Mac specifically. Like in my knowledge, or in our knowledge collectively, he's only ever had Mag. Oh, I'm not gonna fucking sleep. And he's ashamed of that, because he himself is like, everyone who's ever called me Peter has only ever wanted to be my parent. And it's but he says that about one of them and heard it all. What? You know what? I'm not gonna ask. It is just so much. It is so much. It is so much. I'm just thinking so fucking much about it. I'm fine. We're okay. It's just so much to think about. But keep going, SJ. About
Everyone
to
who's
finish.
ever called me Peter has wanted to be my parent, even if I've only let a few fit the role. So, please, just call me what you used to.
Your name...
I've already torn the room apart looking for recording devices, and there are none. Just close the door if you would.
Okay. So, Nureyev, I've been thinking that we should probably talk about us.
So have I.
I know you don't want to, but wait, what?
We should talk too. If you keep standing there while we do it, you're going to make me terribly nervous. Please sit.
Oh, like you aren't
Cool.
already nervous.
Thanks, Nureyev.
Man, I love Thief Without a Home.
Listen,
As a
I just
theme.
wanted to say I'm sorry. The last time we saw each other that night, I messed up. I don't know if that hurt or how much it hurt, but that doesn't matter. I shouldn't have just walked out.
And he goes on like that for some time. I hear his apology, but more than that, I hear his voice and I hear him. This new Juno Steel who does not bite when you examine his scars.
The
Bears
sickest
wet wounds.
fucking
to you with wet
line. The sickest fucking
eyes.
line.
Stop talking now. It is clearly my turn to speak, but I don't have the first thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the weight of potentiality sit heavy on my shoulders. I hear Buddy's words about the excision of my moral core and about my ability to do it. And I realize, for the first time, that there is a kind of helplessness in complete freedom.
Yeah.
One can drift wherever one wants. One never needs to change. When one's surroundings no longer fit one's needs, why, just leave. Find new surroundings that do.
Mm-hmm.
When trouble arises,
Disappear.
I disappear. That impulse is still strong in me. Hearing the weight of this apology, seeing his anticipation, feeling that this is the crossroads Buddy spoke of, condensed into a single moment. Escape sounds so easy. But looking at this new man, respecting what he has made himself into, and perhaps even envying it, there is nothing I want more than to stay.
Disgusting. It's disgusting. Okay, I'm gonna pause between that. I just want to talk about that. I just want to talk about that and how it fucking mirrors. Okay, where's the fucking script? I have it on my phone. No, I don't. I closed it. God damn it. Juno goes on in the first part about how infinite space makes for infinite possibilities, which, thank you, K-Bert, for that. I will be borrowing that for future consideration. Don't worry about it. I have evil and nefarious plans, but I just want to call it out because it's a very, very significant thing to me. And for evil and nefarious plans, I also have very evil nefarious plans that are relating to that aren't about this one, but Juno goes on. It's true what they say about people. Okay, true what people say about the view from space. You look at how much there is and you feel your own smallness in the face of it. You also feel the freedom of it. Infinite space, infinite room to move around, infinite possibility. You just look long enough, you could eventually find anything, even yourself. Makes me feel a little silly for not leaving Mars. Honestly, I've been thinking about a process of finding myself, what I did during it, and the way that they are foils as characters of Juno, just feeling that freedom of Nereyev reusing those words again of how there is a freedom in space, but him as a person, he has been so adrift as a person for so goddamn long that this freedom of moving around is like detrimental to him as a person now. Like, it does not benefit him anymore, and he's aware of that now, at least, that he can't just free fall it anymore. He can't free fall it anymore. He can't just stay where he is at the moment and be a completely fine person about it, because he himself has not made any like improvements, as opposed to Juno, who he left for a little over a year and has improved so greatly that he couldn't even like recognize Juno for a second. And it is just so, it is so much it is so much to me. fine I think about this a normal amount. This is the first time I've listened to Manning Glass in a really long time, but I stand by what I said of them being both at fault in this one, and considering the trajectory of how Juno's apology was going, that apology wasn't, it was less geared towards what Juno did, because Juno himself is like, that doesn't matter anymore. It like, it hurt you or it didn't, it doesn't matter anymore, because that's not me anymore, that's not the person I am anymore. And yet in this episode, he himself just regresses as a person. In that mission, in that little heist that they had, Juno himself regresses for a little, and no one notices that because they're too busy like noticing Nareyev, which is a kudos to Kabert, I guess, because no one noticed it. I don't think anyone's like ever made an observation of the fact that Juno himself regresses in this mission, that because Nareyev is being so frustrating to deal with, that he himself is being like, you know what, if you're being a big, if you're being a dick in this one, I can be a dick in this one, fine, whatever, don't cooperate with me. And then he pulls back a bit when Nareyev seems like he's in danger. because there is some information here that he hasn't told Nareyev. Like, he keeps saying that he wants to tell Nareyev, but at the beginning he had a chance to tell Nareyev that Nareyev is like, they haven't seen Nolzotov for years, or for a year, but like, he's like a big deal art dealer, that he's kind of a bit of a celebrity in the art dealer world, that like the Pharma Megacorps kind of like favor Nova, and Juno makes the observation that, yeah, sure, big changes, blah blah blah, it's a big deal gala, he's a big deal person, blah blah blah. And Juno's just like, there's security, and and he just fails to mention that it's kind of weird that security is very secure, but like 2 a.m, like they changed the camera placements, you know? It's just, he's holding back information because he wants a big reveal or something, or what, he's just not used to like, just of like the ray of having enough fun to like indulge him in this or whatever. Because like, as opposed to their relationship in Train from Nowhere, Nareyev is a lot laxer. He in Train from Nowhere, because he's not under a boss technically. Like, they have a time limit, but it's at least a day, you know? But this one they have an hour, and Ray is like super tense because he's under a new boss, and he's kind of like super anxious of the fact that Buddy doesn't seem to be trusting him with anything, that he doesn't like, he's not aware that Buddy thinks he's like kind of sus. Like he thinks he's got Buddy duped or whatever, that he's gonna end this mission and just run away with some money or whatever. Big joke. He's a big joke. He's a clown. But yeah, Juno himself is at fault. I've said it hours ago. He has faults in this episode that I feel like if anyone wrote the apology fic of like the in-between scenes or like the fallout from Man in Glass, more should be pointed towards how Juno as a person has improved but has regressed in some way in this episode, that he'd be apologizing more. He'd be like, okay, I'm sorry that I hurt you and that you, like, I'm sorry I did that because I know it hurt you, and I'm sorry that I left because I was going through some shit. But it doesn't matter that I was going through some shit. Like, you were hurt, probably. I don't know if you were. You never really said. And the big thing that he has to apologize for this one is, though he can't change what he did in the past, he could have changed how he was in this mission. That he could have just not implicitly thought that Nureyev would like follow his whim sometimes, that if he threw a big enough tantrum, Nureyev would listen to him. Because that's unreasonable, because Nureyev is trying very hard to be professional and just like follow what's supposed to happen. And by the way, Juno offered nothing to this apart from, you know, being in a pretty dress and like making observations. And as much as the Juno Kiddies want to attribute Juno being like a big contributor to this mission, he was not. He was just there. And though he did save Nureyev's ass, I feel like that was Buddy's intention. Like if Nureyev got into any kind of trouble, like Juno would be the like the fall guy. He'd be the one like making sure that Nureyev like didn't fuck up too bad. People like seem to forget the fact that Juno is also here for a reason, and the reason is that Juno is a rookie, and also he's just a bodyguard. Buddy hired him to be a bodyguard, and because Juno kind of helped her like reconcile with her girlfriend of a long time, and she hired Juno because he has some skills that she's not aware of. Sometimes he makes observations, but they weren't like, if you view Time Gone By as like a job interview, Juno didn't really do much detective work as much as he did like fumble around and try to keep Buddy alive. He got stabbed. So that's one thing. So she reliably knows that Juno can throw away his life. As a person. That's one thing she knows about Juno. I feel like people forget that Buddy framed this as a test, and she didn't say it was just for Nureyev, it's also for Juno. So she's gauging both of them. She's gauging how far she can throw Nureyev as a person she can rely on, and she's also gauging how Juno as a person, without the background of like bodyguarding, of like being the brute of the situation, how would Juno be in that situation? How would he adapt to a situation wherein he like violence is not included? Of how is his like detective work when used for crime? Because he's not an ethical person. I've said this before. He's not a lawful person. He's not ethical because he's a private investigator. You know, he's not for the public. He's not for public consumption. That's the wrong word to use, but it's funny. He's not constrained by certain like rules. So it's like, it's kind of unreasonable to think that, you know, he's ethical. he's a good person, but he's not like ethical. so Juno using his detective skills or of like his skills of observation that Buddy has never seen in any context before. She's sent Jet to observe. She's seen his like repertoire, I guess. She mostly just hired Juno for Rita, I'm pretty sure. And also just to see if Nerea was the real deal. I feel like Juno wasn't really a big part of it, but now she's seeing that, like, yeah, I can see that she, like, Juno has been able to gather these two people to him so that there's potential there. So she's like looking in, like, this is the test for Juno of what the potential of Juno Steel could be for her crew. And it's kind of just, I feel like, again, I'm reiterating this to myself, it feels surprising that she only left Juno and Araya for this mission. There is no, like, Jet's not there. He's just like, she has to send him as a getaway driver. But he wasn't there. Vespa wasn't there. Rita wasn't even on call. They weren't on covert comms with Buddy the whole time. It's a very solo mission. So I think part of Juno's test in this one was like knowing when to keep Ransom on task because again, Ransom's test is like how far she can throw him. Juno is the one on task of how Juno's going to do that, because Juno has history with Nerea. that's the word we're using now. Juno has history with Nerea, and for her crew to work, because Juno has a repertoire with Nerea that she hasn't seen before, for Nerea to work on her team, there has to be a draw on how they're going to draw Nerea into the crew itself, because he seems to be not like very cooperative and very secretive. He's not like willing to share anything, or he doesn't have a very public persona. So the only way to measure that is through Juno. And it's odd because, you know, there doesn't seem to be any surveillance on Nerea himself. On Nerea and Juno themselves. There's nothing apart from what they're gonna be getting in the debriefing afterwards, where Buddy just has to see what they have to say for themselves. And what she sees is that Nerea is genuinely remorseful of having fucked up this job. And though they succeeded in stealing the globe, the map technically, though they've succeeded in taking the map, you know, they're very self-critical, they're very negative about themselves, and you know, yeah, they're remorseful because they did a bad job. And Juno and Nerea fundamentally, I think, in that moment, like, if you view this from Buddy's perspective, they're really just looking for a leader or a parent. I say parent in the furthest like context of like actual family thing. This is more found family parent than actual family. Biological family. They need guidance is what I'm thinking Buddy thinks of them. They need guidance to like be able to be effective in a family context of just anything. So yeah. So I'm gonna be saving, and I'll be back in 5 minutes for Tools of Rest. Gab, if you're still on, just chat me if you're still gonna be if you're still gonna be joining, but I will be back.